Hey everybody, this is Troy Alexander. We are back on Inspiration with Troy Alexander on Hamilton Radio. One more time. Listen, you know what our motto is? Dream, take that step and walk with purpose into your destiny. I'm telling you, listen, this show is about encouraging you and inspiring you to follow your dreams and never give up. Hold on to your purpose. Hold on to your destiny. I'm telling you, this is about making a declaration that something greater is about to take place in your life. And listen, I did a declaration on Facebook this past week, and I said, you know what? I am declaring that our show is going to give out full scholarships to youth. Listen, I've made the declaration, and I opened my mouth and I declared something to be so. And then I'm advertising it. I'm putting myself into position to receive what my purpose is aligned with. I'm telling you right now, this is what this show is all about, to encourage you, to uplift you, to let you know to hold on to your dreams. Really quick, before we do a video of our amazing guests and then introduce our guests for this evening, is I have a couple of points of purpose that I want to share with you really quick that I do on Facebook to uplift you and to encourage you. Listen, number one, the field might look empty, but the seeds have already been planted. Don't go by what it looked like. Listen, you keep planting your seeds of greatness, your seeds of destiny, and don't worry about how it looks like in the beginning. But you keep working, keep putting practice in, keep rehearsing, keep doing, keep focusing, keep sending the email, keep going to the audition. Because I'm telling you, it's about a persistence with your purpose. And so don't be moved by what it looks like in the beginning, but you keep putting your work in, and I'm telling you, something great is going to be produced in the end. One more, and then we're going to get ready to show the video of our amazing guest. I put this on, it says, one decided not to go, and one decided to go. One word separated their destiny. One word. I'm telling you, choose to go today. Make a decision. One said, I'm not going. One said, I am. One word. Don't let one word hold you back from what so much is destined for your life. It's not about what you see all the way. But listen, you got to know there's something more than what you have right now. Listen, we have an amazing guest tonight. And listen, this show is all about bringing on dreamers, people that had amazing dreams and journeys in life. This show talks about how they got there and what it took for them not only to get there, but to maintain there and to walk in their purpose. So tonight, I'm so excited. We have an amazing guest, Miss AESHA. And listen, I'm just going to do a brief overview of a little bit of some of her accomplishments, and then we're going to show our video, Ruben. And then we're going to go into our actual interview. But she's a professional ballet dancer for 13 years, probably more than that. She joined the New York City Ballet at age 18, a soloist for the Bergerac, is that right? Ballet in Switzerland. I'm going to get it right. She was featured in Dance Magazine. She was the principal dancer, double for Zoe Saldana in the movie Center Stage. She was the founder of the SWAN's Dreams Project. So listen, are we ready, Ruben? We are ready. We're going to show a video of this amazing young woman, and then we're going to go into our interview. Miss AESHA.
Amid the gritty streets of Oakland, California, an eye-catching beauty, a ballerina.
Can you guys say tendu?
Tendu.
Young girl. Amid the gritty streets of Oakland, California, an eye-catching beauty, a ballerina.
Really ready.
Can you guys say tendu?
Tendu.
Young girls in awe.
I want to be a ballerina when I grow up. I want to be a ballerina too.
Can you show me pirouette? Can you pirouette?
AESHA Ash was a professional ballerina for 13 years, a world back then dominated by white dancers.
Listen, with technology, you know, it's okay. And if not, Ruben, I can always go into the interview. All right. Here we go.
Amid the gritty streets of Oakland, California, an eye-catching beauty, a ballerina.
Can you guys say tendu?
Tendu.
Young girls in awe.
I want to be a ballerina when I grow up. I want to be a ballerina too.
Can you show me pirouette? Can you pirouette?
AESHA was a professional ballerina for 13 years, a world back then dominated by white dancers. Yet she joined the prestigious New York City Ballet at age 18.
That was
Joined the prestigious New York City Ballet.
Different tonight, but thank you so much. Again, I want to introduce Miss Aisha Ash. Thank you so much for being with us on this evening. I'm so honored and privileged that you are with us. Thank you so much. Just thank you at first. Thank you.
It's a pleasure to be here.
I want to. I understand. I saw another interview of yourself, and it was I heard at the age of 5 that someone mentioned to your mother that ballet would be an artistry that you should explore or try. Why do you think that your mother heard those words and thought that was even a possibility for you?
Because you don't know my mama.
Oh, wow.
So, my mother is an incredible woman, and she does anything that she puts her mind to. Mm-hmm. And so, for her, so it wasn't at the age of 5 that I was told. It was at the age of 5 that I began dancing.
Oh, wow. Awesome.
And so they said that I had some talent in dance, mm-hmm. and that, at that time I was, I believe when I first started, it was just at a little community center that was up the street from me. And then on the opposite side of the street, a little bit further down, was a dance studio. And so, they, I guess, had saw some talent in me and said, she should dance and, really do this seriously. And that's when I started going going to the other dance studio. And it was then I was doing all forms of dance. It wasn't just ballet. Okay. So I was doing tap and jazz and lyrical. I was doing a lot of competitions. And it wasn't until I was a little bit older that we had a guest teacher come into the studio and told my mom that I had some promise in ballet and that I should start to take that a little bit more seriously and think about attending the ballet school in the area. And she said, listen, if she wants to get better at other forms of dance, ballet is the foundation. So, it should be something that she should consider. And so it was then that my mother was like, okay, well, this is what she wants to do, right. And this is her pursuit, because at that time I wasn't thinking to be a ballerina. At that time I was thinking to be on Broadway. Wow. Because I was at a studio that, that's kind of what you do. You do jazz, you do tap, you do lyrical, and right. You do lots of dance competitions. And that's sort of, at least back then, that's where the trajectory was headed. Right. And then it wasn't until later that I, then began to pursue ballet. And it wasn't, love at first, ballet class.
Right,
I was definitely a mover. I definitely loved dance, but I loved all forms of dance and didn't want to just keep my eyes only on ballet. And that sort of developed much later.
Awesome. That's wonderful. And it's so inspiring. And I got to ask you, when did you know, this is what you wanted to do? Because all young people, they try different, whether it's dance or sports or different. When did you know? There a moment in time they say, you know what, I can do this, and this is really what I want to do?
I think it was for me the first moment I took a dance class.
Oh, wow.
I can remember from a very young age. I don't remember that very first experience at the community center, mm-hmm. but I definitely remember the feeling of being in dance class. And I love dance, period.
Wonderful.
I love that freedom. I loved being able to express myself through movement. I loved the music. So I think right from the beginning, I was very lucky that I found my passion at such a young age and right away. And I know that is not the norm for a lot of young people. So I feel really blessed in that, sort of that first thing that I tried out really stuck.
Yes. Well, I want to ask you, because at that age, so young, did you think that you could do this for a living? or because I mean it's something that people do, but did you know that you can actually take this artistry and actually take it to a different level?
Well, yes, because I think, at that time, again, as I was saying, at that dance studio and going, from a very young age doing dance competitions, it's sort of, you know, you see the pathway, and there the pathway was, I want to do Broadway. I want to be on Broadway. So I was aware
Awesome.
that you could make a career out of it.
Awesome.
And so I didn't know that I would make it, but that was the goal, and that was my dream, and that's what I was pushing for.
Wonderful, wonderful. I again, as I said to you prior to the interview, we're so proud of you. I mean, it's and we're gonna get the video hopefully before the show is over. But what is that feeling like when you've culminated a performance and you hear the crowd and it's like you've reached that place in that moment? What is that feeling like?
I think, I was just explaining this to some students the other day. I think just the feeling of being on stage, even, before seeing the audience or anything, and just, feeling the curtain go up and you feel that wind that kind of comes from the theater. And there's a lot of nerves. I know that there's a lot of dancers who don't get nervous, but I was one of those dancers. I was nervous even up until I retired.
Really?
I would get those jitters. But I also was somebody very, very self-critical and very hard on myself. So I put a lot of pressure on myself each performance. But with that adrenaline there's a lot of excitement and just a lot of joy. It's really indescribable, this feeling of performing. For me, being on stage is almost, I almost feel more comfortable there than even in doing something like this.
Okay.
And that's because on the stage, especially in a big theater, for me, the audience was an abyss. You have this bright light on you, and it's just, when I look out, I'm just looking straight out, and there's, our little spotting light, we call it, which is that little red light out there. And the audience for me is just, it's just an abyss, and you just see darkness out there, and so you almost feel very alone. And it's, I feel like, I'm almost in a room just dancing by myself.
Wow.
And so it's where I feel the most comfortable. As soon as I start recognizing or paying attention to those first few rows, or I know, people looking in the wings, that, that sort of takes me out for a moment, but then I have to just kind of black all that out and just draw myself back into the work. It's just it's something that it's hard to experience in a classroom setting, or if I'm, if there was something that I was some place where I danced, and, you can just really see the audience and the lights are all up.
Right.
Being on that stage and in a real theater setting, there's no feeling like it.
Wow. And that was so powerful, what you just talked about, how you're alone, like you feel like you're just alone on that stage. It's just you.
Yeah.
And so powerful. Yeah. I want to ask you, because all of us get nervous at different points in our life. I am surprised that you still, got nervous, even being so experienced that you were.
Oh, yeah.
How would you prepare? Because again, this show is all about like the journey. How would you prepare for like a performance, and to know that you're ready? Like, what is that process like?
Yeah, and I think it's different for everybody, and even it can even be different sometimes even for me, for every show, depending on what show I'm doing.
Yes.
I know I have to remove all distractions, and I have to go to that internal place for me. And so a lot of times it would be music. A lot of times it would be just putting some music in my headset, putting my earphones in, and just getting lost in music. obviously you have the technical things you need to do, going downstairs, wherever, your warm-up places,
Yes.
making sure that you prepare your body, warming up before the show. I didn't have anything like well, that's not true. I was going to say I didn't have any like rituals that I would do, any superstitious things, but there was something that, when I would sew my point shoes, I had to knot it 3 times.
Okay.
There was that 3 that, means something to me. So, yeah, I had to, that's something that I did. But besides that, for me, music was something that, that was very powerful for me. And it's just my moment to just escape and just lose myself and, get centered and kind of remove all the outside distractions so that I can focus on the performance and what's going to be coming.
Well, listen, again, we're so proud of you. As I said to everyone, Miss AESHA Ash, a professional ballet dancer for 13 years. She's a professional. She has danced all around the world. She's been in magazines, just a phenomenal artist. And we're so proud of you and all that you've done and what you're continuing to do. I want to ask you what is it, because what does it mean to be a professional ballet dancer? Because when I read your bio, it said that you became a professional ballet dancer, I believe, at the age of 13. Is that accurate?
No.
18.
So I became professional at 18.
18. Okay.
So
okay.
The 13 year. So this, I think, is going to help to answer your question.
Yes.
So at the age of 13, so to be a professional dancer, and this may take us back a little bit and answer maybe some questions that you have further down, but I can kind of maybe answer some of them as I take you through the journey. So I was doing, the jazz, tap, lyrical, doing lots of competitions, and then, decided to go to the ballet studio and to pursue that. And it was at that point, after some years there, that my mother started to see that kids were going away for the summer.
Okay.
And she wanted to inquire, where are these kids going? What are they doing? And it was then that, she was told, will they go away to summer programs, which are, usually affiliated with some big ballet school, which usually, a lot of times that ballet school is then affiliated with a bigger company.
Okay.
And so, she decided that was something that she wanted to pursue for me, since, it was around 10 or 11 that I had decided, I kind of going to leave the Broadway dreams behind. And I was thinking to take ballet a little bit more seriously. And it was at that time when my mom inquired and, thought about, okay, well, maybe this is something that she should do then, if this is what she wants to pursue, that she was warned that it would be difficult for me as a woman of color in ballet, because there are not many, and that we face more challenges. And it was upon hearing that I was like, okay, well, now I have to do it.
Wow. Wow.
And I think that stems from way back before dance. And that stems from me being an inner city kid and being bused out to a suburban school. I was part of what they called the urban suburban program, where inner city students were bused out to suburban schools because parents thought that there was just better education for them.
Right.
And so I faced a lot of difficulties and there were a lot of when kids are so young, I don't really like to say, racism, but, it was just a lot of innocent ignorance is what I like to call it, especially at those very, very young ages.
Yes.
And I had to start facing that from first grade on.
Wow.
That kids just inquiring about inner city life, were the stereotypes that they saw on TV the same? Was that actual reality? And, I saw people deal with that in multiple ways.
Right.
I decided to find my own way of dealing with that. And I really wanted to just show people who I am, and then you judge me accordingly.
Right.
And so hearing that about the ballet world sort of just took that desire in me to have society see, people of color, those from inner city environments, and women of color in a different light. And what better way to do that than through my art?
Awesome.
And so already I kind of had that, even though I loved ballet, I wanted to pursue it. That was my passion. That had turned into my passion, the pursuit of being a ballerina. There was that deeper thing inside of me that kept me pushing and to really wanting to do something and leave my mark in the ballet world because of that history, because of getting into ballet and knowing that it's going to be a challenge for me as a woman of color.
Right.
And so I wanted to be on that stage, and I thought, what better way to show that we are so much more than a stereotype than to be on that stage every single night as a princess, as a fairy, as all of these things,
Yes.
all of the ideas that one thinks of a ballerina that we don't get to show ourselves as day in and day out the way society shows us, that I could do that on stage every single night.
Wow.
And so that's what really, really pushed me throughout my career.
Awesome. I want to dig a little deeper. What do you think it was? Because I heard you say it was something inside of you. What do you think it was that just seemed to sort of raise an ire in you and a confidence level to say, you know what, I'm going to do this? What is there an experience that you recalled, or what do you think it was?
I wouldn't say that it's confidence. Because I wasn't somebody that was, full of confidence.
Okay.
Although I was very sure of who I was. And I think, I don't know, there's this, there's something inside of me. I feel like it's my calling, but there's something inside of me that from a very young age that I felt like I could do it. I could be the one to really kind of change this way of, I could get people to understand. I can get people to, I can be able to open up this dialogue without resulting in anger and frustrations and disagreements on both sides. And so there was always this way that I found myself approaching conversations around race and stereotypes, and so I wanted to continue that throughout my art. And there was the other thing is that, and I didn't realize this till much later on,
Right.
is once I started the SWAN Dreams project, and then even after the SWAN Dreams project is when then it started to become the height of the Black and brown ballerinas. But with all the push of wanting to make ballet diverse, there is that element which my project addresses that was missing. And I always felt, even before starting the SWAN Dreams project, I always felt that there was this thing that bothered me, and that was beyond ballet, of the way that women of color were constantly stereotyped.
Wow.
And I think that, that I never fit that stereotype. And even within my own community, sometimes I was seen as the outsider. And that's one of the things that I addressed in my TED Talk that I did.
Yes.
That even in my own community, the fact that I did ballet, the fact that I went into a suburban school,
Right.
the fact that, I talked a little bit different. I was always people were always trying to out me or put me in another box.
Wow.
And I was very sure of who I was.
Awesome.
A woman of color. I was very proud being from the inner city of Rochester, and I wasn't going to let anybody tell me any differently,
Right.
not even my own people.
Right.
And so that was something I always sat very firm in. And then I think it was my mom. I was just thinking about this the other day,
Yes.
Where I got this idea of loving, this sort of, and wanting to push this elegance and grace and the sophistication of Black women,
Yes.
and really highlighting that side of who we are. And I think it was really my mother, because from a very young age, I just remember driving around with her, and she would always just say things out loud. And it was just kind of like this education without sitting you down in the chair and going, let's talk. You would just hear her constantly commenting and saying things. And I was always, as a very young kid, like, okay, mental note, don't do that. Okay, do that,
right.
And that was my mom.
Wow.
And so I do remember from a very young age, just, when she would drive down the street or see something on TV, she'd see like a young Black girl walking, and she would just be dressed well and, with good, nice posture, just carrying herself with just class and sophistication. And my mother, even and just in the hood. And my mother would be like, look at that young little girl. That's how you walk. That's how you carry yourself.
Wow.
And I just remember that having just a strong impact on me from, the age of 6, 7, and hearing her constantly point those women out, or those young girls out, or seeing somebody on TV that's, carrying themselves with a little more poise and grace and sophistication. And, she would always say, Aisha, don't be loud and ignorant like me, don't be like mama, and she would always, and I always, even though I admired my mother, I mean, my mother is one of the most strongest, beautiful women that I know.
Yes.
But she was always saying, don't be like me, don't be loud like me, don't. And so from just constantly hearing that from a young age and seeing her point out these beautiful women of color in my own environment, not somebody picking from some other environment, within my own environment, and powerful. Picking out those little diamonds.
Absolutely.
That sat with me, and and that's what I want to do in my project, just saying that no, we are in this community. Women of color are also like this. We're not just the stereotype you see on the screen. We are not, we are multidimensional. There's many different sides to who we are. And my project and what I do, I want to highlight the side that often gets overlooked, even within our young people in our own community, that, if you are like how I was and how I am, I always kind of got pushed to the side a little bit, that I'm okay, well, she must think she's better than, and she's uppity, or she's, she does that ballet stuff, she's different. And no, I'm not. I'm really not.
Well, I'm telling you, you are truly making a difference in the lives of so many young people. And I want to talk about your SWAN Dreams project. How did the name come about?
Yeah, I played around with that a little bit. When we think, a lot of people outside of the ballet world, when they think of ballet, they think of the Nutcracker, or they think of Swan Lake.
Okay.
Right?
Yes,
so that immediately
yes.
Conjures up ballet. And then when you think about Swan Lake, you think of this white swan, you think of the epitome of elegance and grace and sophistication, and then the idea of dreaming, is just that either dream to be a ballerina, or just whatever your dream may be. And then it is my project. It's something that I, decided to, put together. So it just kind of fit together, the Swan Dreams project. It just kind of flowed together in that way that I was thinking. The reason why I chose images was because I started the project in 2011. I had my daughter in 2009, and so I was very retired, and very happily retired. I wasn't, one of those who continued dancing and was in shape, and I was a mom full time, and really happy with that, and I didn't want to go back to dancing. But I just got tired. I got tired of seeing society tell me what my story was.
Wow.
Who I should be.
Yes.
And got tired of all the stereotypes that I saw on TV. And I just said, you know what? I got to do something. I can't keep sitting here and taking other people telling me what my story is. And what I mean by my story, our story.
Yes.
And
yes.
who I am and should be, and how I should act as a woman of color.
Yes.
I just got tired. And I started thinking about, well, what can I do? I'm definitely not going back to dancing.
Right.
I'm very happy. I have my daughter, and I'm happy to being a full-time mom. And then it made me think about an image I saw at the School of American Ballet of a Black dancer who was in the company when I was at the school.
Right.
And that image stuck out to me because it was this, beautiful Black dancer.
Right.
It was a black and white image. And so she really stuck out amongst all the other white dancers. And so on those days where I was living away from home, I started going to ballet school at 13. So that's the 13.
Yes.
So I was around 13 going on 14 when I went away. And I went away for 3 summers and then 2 full years. Wow. And you were living away from home in New York City.
How did you handle that?
What'd you say?
How did you handle being away from home?
I mean, it was hard. It was definitely, I had been going back and forth and, traveling a lot with doing competitions and things like that, but not really living without my family. And so it was hard. And especially, you have to realize you are a young adolescent and you're sort of coming into your own around those ages.
Absolutely.
Of like 13, 14, 15, 16. And I was doing that away from my family, away from my environment, and in an environment that I felt was telling me that everything else, there was every other form of beauty but my own. I would look around, and even leaving the dance studio, even going into just society, you see things on TV, you open little kids' picture books, all the princesses look nothing like you.
Right.
And now that has changed today, but you have to realize this was some time back.
Right.
And so there were days that I just, I was like, I just want to go home. I just want to go home. I just want to just feel comfortable, not feel like that I have to, fight, for my place.
Right.
And to be recognized. And it was on those days that I just felt very disenchanted and just very down, that I would look at that image and just, without really knowing this dancer, just see this image and went, if she can do it, I can do it. And so it was at that time that I thought, thinking back on that image, I thought, you know what? Images are really, really powerful.
They are.
Because that singular image did so much for me.
Yes.
Just seeing an image.
Absolutely.
On those days where I was just like, I can't, I would just look at it and just go, yes, I can. Yes, I can. I can do it. And that's when I decided, you know what? I'm just going to do images. I'm just going to go back home, put on my tutu. And it was really, as a dancer, I see things in movement.
Yes.
So I saw movement. I saw like just, me at home and just people walking on the street. And then all of a sudden you just see this like flash of a ballerina. Yes. And so I was, sat down with a photographer and I was explaining this to him. And I was explaining, listen, I don't want it to be the traditional ballet photo shoot. Mm-hmm. It's not about lifting my leg up and look how high she can jump or look at this beautiful pose. I really want it to make people stop and think. I really want you to try to capture the essence of what ballet is.
Yes.
Something soft, ethereal, angelic, sweet. And I want that captured in the image. I want beauty, but not in the sense of beauty of this.
Right.
Really beauty in just the capturing this movement or capturing something. That's the beauty that I want captured. And seeing people walk by and what their expressions are looking at me, that to be the highlight and not me.
Right.
I was, in the beginning, I thought I just would make this, like an ad campaign, and realized that was too expensive. And so that wasn't going to happen.
Right.
And so that's when I knew I had a Facebook page. So I thought, well, let me just throw them up there and see if people get it. And I was really nervous about doing that because I didn't want people to think I had been out of dance, out of the scene for so long. I didn't want people to think, oh, she's trying to come back on the scene again, because I had very little interest in that.
Right.
And I said, I put, one or two images out there and just kind of waited,
They're
sat
amazing.
back and see what was going to happen.
Well, they're amazing.
And they got it immediately.
Yes.
They immediately got it. And I just got chills from just the comments that I was receiving. But one of the things that shocked me the most was that it wasn't young dancers. That's who I thought I was going to inspire.
Right.
Or just young people in general. These were older women who were writing these long letters and sometimes, writing saying that the images brought them to tears. They can't stop crying, saying how if they saw an image like this, they would have never given up ballet in the first place.
Wow.
Wow. And
That's
that really
powerful.
Shocked me. Like that just kind of made me sit back and go, geez, I look at all these wounds that, I'm hoping to heal just with images.
Yes.
But also how many wounds there are. Right.
Yes.
And people that are, these are people that were not dancers that had like gone on to just be professional and then retire. These were women who maybe started at a young age and then went and took like corporate jobs, did something completely different, but that had this history, this story, and how that wounded their identity.
Powerful.
From then on.
Absolutely.
And that's when I knew, like, okay, I've got something. I got to keep it going.
Awesome. Well, listen, we are so proud of you and all that you're doing. Listen, everybody, it's www.theswandreamsproject.org. Again, theswandreamsproject.org. And it's on our flyer on Facebook, on Instagram. and so forth. That is just truly amazing. I love when I saw the videos of you talking with the young women, the young ladies, and they say, "I want to be a ballerina. I want to," and it's amazing. What I mean, I understand the photography and the imagery. I mean, you are walking in your full ballerina attire, like
I know.
down the street, in at the park,
I know.
at the barber shop, or wherever it may be, like wherever you go.
I think I did go to the barber shop.
Yes. And it was I loved it. The gentleman playing the saxophone.
I told you earlier that
yes.
That makes me shy. And when I'm first getting ready to step out, I'm very shy because I'm like, I'm used to being on the stage and I don't see the audience,
right.
and so that's where I feel more comfortable. So even every time I go out, I'm like, I can't believe I'm doing this.
Wow.
But then the kids start running up to you.
Yes.
And then the adults are starting to say things, wow, I never
Yes.
saw ballerina, and this is so beautiful. Thank you for doing this. And then it's just like it all melts away.
Yes.
And then I feel home.
Yes.
I just feel home. And it feels good. It feels good. And I remember one of the comments that somebody made one of the first times in 2011 when I went out was this guy. And I remember we were on the sidewalk and there were people on one side of the sidewalk and people on the other. And it was at a time where in downtown where I lived, in downtown Rochester, where I'm from, that, a lot of activity would happen downtown. And so they had, patrolling officers on horseback
Mm-hmm.
that would patrol downtown.
Yes.
And I remember there was this one officer on his horse and he had his cell phone out videotaping me, while I was doing the photo shoot,
right.
and people were watching and some other kids had their phones out. And this guy, and so everyone was kind of giving me respect on staying on one side or the other side of the sidewalk.
Right.
And this guy, he kind of looked up at the officer, kind of saw everybody filming around, and he just walked right through the middle of the shoot with his hands by his side and his chest puffed up. And he was like, that's what I'm talking about, ballerina in the hood. And,
wow.
And, he chuckled. But
yes.
then after that, I felt so proud.
Yes.
I was just like, he's proud of me.
Yes.
He is claiming me as his own.
Yes.
She is part of our
yes.
hood. This is ours.
Yes.
Yes, you guys can take pictures of her. This is ours.
Wow.
Take it in.
Wow.
And that just it's moments like that just fills me with such pride. To be able to go home or to environments like where I come from.
Yes.
And to be able to do stuff like that. And it's not always that the comments are positive. I mean,
right,
I get a lot of negative stuff said to me or a lot of negative stuff negative things online, but they certainly don't outweigh
absolutely
the positive, and it definitely doesn't stop me.
Wonderful. Well, we're so proud of that it doesn't stop you, but it continues to motivate. I want to ask you, what do you want people, because I have a focus on youth, but what do you want them to walk away having or knowing? So after they've encountered the Swan Dreams Project or your mission, your purpose, what do you want them to walk away with?
This is important because even though I use my art form of ballet as my vehicle,
yes.
It's so much bigger than ballet.
Yes.
And so what I want them to walk away with is hopefully they've seen something they've never seen before.
Right.
They see possibilities. They see what happens if you dare to dream, because it takes a lot of courage to dream beyond the box that sometimes surrounds us.
Yes, yes.
And then what I hope that they take, and they may not, especially the young ones, but what they take away is that not only am I from their environment, but I've come back.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
That
yes.
no matter what people said to me, that I thought, because I pursued this high art form, because maybe I talk a certain way, I carry myself a certain way, I, do certain things that are not, the norm from where I come from.
Right.
I know where I come from.
Yes.
And I know where my roots are. And I continue to come back,
yes.
and I continue to give back. And so no one can put you in any box, whether that's a box of being a woman, a man, an adult, a child, black, white. There is no box, right? You create
yes.
who you want to be.
Yes. I love it. I love it. Listen, how can people follow you? How can people connect with you on social media?
Yeah, so the best on social media, there's my Instagram page, this at the Swan Dreams Project. There's my Facebook page, the Swan Dreams Project. And then you can also, the best way to send me a message or something is through my website. You can send me an email through my website. It comes right to me. I do my best to email back everyone because a lot of times I'll get DMs in lots of different places, and that takes me a little bit longer to get to if there's a DM on, whether it's LinkedIn or Facebook or Instagram. It takes me a while to get around to all of them, but the best to kind of keep it in one hub in one place is just to email me through my website, and I try to get back to as many people as I can.
Awesome. Thank you. I want to ask you, listen, I saw the movie Center Stage. Now, I want to ask, were you actually in the movie?
I was. So the director did something really clever, which is that he had me as the dance double for the actress Zoe Saldana.
Yes.
But then he also had me play myself. So there's moments where you'll see me in the classroom and the teacher may say, "Good job, Aisha." But for the movie, they showed her up close.
Right.
And then when they would pan out, that was me dancing.
Wow.
So I did all of her dancing.
Listen, I'm telling you, I'm going to go back and watch that movie now again. I've seen it multiple times. I love the movie. And I'm like, so I'm telling you, I was in awe. And that's why, again, to have you on this show, it is an honor. It is a true honor of all, just your purpose, your calling, all the way from Rochester, New York to Switzerland to now you're in California. I mean, just phenomenal and making a difference. I love how you've taken your artistry and it is changing lives. And that is no, you are. And that is a culmination of anyone's life to say, what I made a difference, and you are. And we're so thankful for you. We're so proud of you taking whatever that it is and being able to step forth. And even in those moments where it's just you, where you're all alone, to take that moment and to have a spotlight on the world that you are changing. So we thank you so much. I want to ask you, do you have any other dreams? Anything that you've not done yet that you aspire to do?
Do you have a moment?
Yes. Yes, I love it.
I mean, my biggest dream right now is for my hometown, because that's my heart. My heart is in Rochester, New York right now.
Awesome.
So, but it doesn't mean that that's where it's gonna stay. Right now, my dream is I did these little small from images. I eventually created a summer camp that was running in Rochester, New York. We did that 2 summers in a row, and basically the camp was about imparting on to these kids everything that I've experienced by being a ballet dancer. So it wasn't just ballet. We had ballet, we had physical fitness, we had nutrition, we had etiquette, we had music, we had art, we did field trips. So and it was very hard for me to leave those kids. Like when the summer was over, I cried like a baby. I felt like each of those kids, every 30 of them was like my own.
Wow.
And it was very difficult. That first week away, it really shocked me how attached I felt to them and how responsible I felt for them. Because when we left the camp, it was like, okay, what do we do now, Miss Aisha? And I was like, I don't know. There's a lot of programs here, there, but not that put them together in the way that I did.
Right.
So my dream for my hometown is to have my own center.
Awesome.
Where kids can go to after school, and all of those little programs that I had started through the summer camp, we will have that and more. Having the homework help for kids, having, counselors there if the kids just need somebody to talk to, because a lot of times that's what I experienced in my summer camp. Sometimes it was me just going along on the side and just talking with some kids and just having them cry things out. I mean, our camp ran from 8:30 in the morning until 5:30. And there were days that I didn't even take a snack or lunch. I stayed with those kids all day long in every single one of their classes, on our breaks, pulling them to the side, working out things that they were dealing with. And so that's what our kids need. They need outlets. They need these things. And so just having that all under one hub, because I think about those achievement gaps and I think about my kids,
Yes.
that we're just kind of in a middle class environment, but even still, they come home. I'm on top of them, making sure their homework is done.
Right.
I make sure that they have a nice, nutritious snack to eat if they're hungry. I can take them to their, swim class or, basketball practice or art class. Like, I can do those things.
Wow.
Not everybody has that ability to do that.
Right.
So I want to, have that all under one hub where the kids can come, they are fed, and they, have the help that they need. They also have all of those art,
Yes.
the art classes available to them, whether it's ballet, music, composing. I mean, just all of
I love it.
Of it.
I
And
love
it's
it.
just, and even through ballet, even through my camp, we took the kids on a camp on a during one of the field trips to the local ballet company, and they were able to see a costume room, and walking through the costume room, seeing the costumes and how they're made, and seeing the sets. You may have a kid who came to my camp thinking, all right, I want to do a ballet camp,
Right.
but leave going, you know what, I want to be a seamstress,
I love it.
or I want to be a set designer.
Yes.
I mean, you never know.
Exactly.
So just able to open up those doors and just exposing kids to as much as possible,
Yes.
so that they feel like the world is just their playground.
Absolutely.
And they can just choose, and there's no box and limit of, well, you can do this, you're from here, you're this, you're that. You can do whatever you want.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, listen, I want to applaud you, and I'm telling you, we're so thankful, as Aisha asked, for you taking your time out of your busy schedule to be a part of our show. I'm so honored. I would love to have you back again at some point. I would love to have you live here in New Jersey whenever you come back on the East Coast, if you do. But we're so honored to have you. I have a request. Now, I know you may be particular in who does it, but I would love to take one day and shoot with you. So as a photographer, I would love the honor. Oh my goodness. So you don't have to answer now on the show unless you want to.
I'm getting up there in age, so easy on these photo shoots.
but if that ever comes up, I would love to be considered. And
it will be my pleasure.
And again, I thank you so much. Is there anything else that you want to share with us? I want to ask you one more question. If you had to say what 1, 2, or 3, whatever you feel, of characteristics that were so critical that helped you to reach the plateau that you have reached and continue to reach, what would you say? Like what are 3 or 2 or 3 things that you would say for any person in life, whether they're young or whether they're of age, is critical for them to have or to focus on?
I can think of one thing is shouting at me right now. And it's something I know about myself, that even through insecurities and all other things, there was something that I was very strong in, and that was who I am.
Yes.
And my belief, and nobody could touch that. And that was something, and I never let anybody shake me.
Right.
No matter if people were trying to call me out, saying that really strong belief and connection with who I am. And even in the ballet world, being made sometimes to feel that I wasn't graceful enough or elegant enough or ethereal enough. Like, I knew who I was and what I could, what I could portray and what I was capable of. And so even though I felt like I was very far behind when it came to just the technique of ballet, because I started late, I knew that I worked hard, and that was something that no one can take away from me.
Yes,
they could not take away my hard work.
Awesome.
But I knew who I was, and I wasn't going to let somebody else put their identity or what they thought my identity should be on me.
Awesome.
And I think that's what our youth should have, this just unshakable confidence of who they are and their true belief systems.
I love it. Well, thank you, Miss Aisha Ash. We're so proud of you. Again, thank you for the honor of being on our show. We appreciate you. Any final words you want to say before we go off?
I think, Mr. Alexander, you had me saying a lot. I don't think I have more to say.
Oh, well, I thank you so
by now.
well, I thank you so much. Your children are blessed. Everyone that comes in your presence is blessed.
And they've been behaving, by the way. Have you heard them?
No, I haven't.
As a mom, though, I'm getting a little nervous. Like, what are they doing back there?
Oh my goodness. Well,
My house is going to be torn up.
well, I thank you so much for being a jewel. Thank you for being just again an angel in this world, inspiring so many of all ages. We're proud of you. I'm honored to have this time in this moment with you. I look for the honor one day of being able to meet you in person one day. Thank you so much. You don't know how much this means to me, to our audience, and to everyone that will watch this show, months down and years to come. So thank you so much. We appreciate you, and we're honored.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Listen, everybody, that is Miss AESHA Ash. Please go to her website, theswandreamsproject.org. Follow her on social media. An amazing platform, an amazing inspiration. This is Troy Alexander on Hamilton Radio, Inspiration with Troy Alexander. We're here every Thursday night, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, to encourage you to dream, take that step, and walk with purpose into your destiny. Have a great night. I'll see you next Thursday.
Amid the gritty streets of Oakland, California, an eye-catching beauty, a ballerina.
Can you guys say tendu?
Tendu.
Young girls in awe.
I want to be a ballerina when I grow up. I want to be a ballerina too.
Can you show me pirouette? Can you pirouette?
AESHA Ash was a professional ballerina for 13 years, a world back then dominated by white dancers. Yet she joined the prestigious New York City Ballet at age 18.
That was very challenging. It was very isolating. It was very lonely.
After she retired, she wanted to help others break barriers, so she started the SWAN Dreams Project, teaching and sharing photographs of her dancing through inner city neighborhoods.
My dreamer inside of me was just to replace those images that I remembered in my childhood of, like, the girls in the bikinis on the motorbike, holding a 40 ounce of beer. So this is our second position.
She followed her dreams, which is very inspiring that you can accomplish anything if you believe in yourself.
They can all be swans. Beauty and grace are not defined by status or race. They are boundless and endless, and swan dreams are certainly for everyone. And no matter what you dream, you're going to work hard to make it come true, right?
Yeah.
A ballerina teaching others to hold their heads high no matter where they come from. Hey, NBC News fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here. Click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest.